Hey, good morning. We're Coffee with the Summerland Kids.
Good
And
morning.
good morning. This is, let's see, episode 89. And today the weather in Summerland it's a cool 63 with a high of 77. So we're talking kind of I guess you'd say a pretty decent day in Summerland today,
Oh yeah, 77 is
right?
just about perfect. Not too cold, not too hot. I mean, those chilliness in the morning, I guess it's nice when you have a nice hot cup of
Yeah,
coffee.
exactly. And
Um,
it's partly cloudy out there, so that's interesting. A little different change up. Mm, yeah.
yeah.
So
It takes some getting used to. I know some people are like, oh, I can't handle the cold, and then other people are like, oh, I can't handle the hot. I know that it's definitely a change out here from the coast where we were on the Central Coast there because we would always joke around, that there's 11 and a half months of
all right.
barbecue season.
Out there where you're at, huh? Yeah.
No, over
Okay.
on the coast, out here we got the hot, basically July and August. You can expect a couple weeks running of
Right.
over 100, and pretty much, if not very many below 90s, mostly, you're happy if it's like, oh, it's 99 today. It's not in triple digits. And then, of course, in the winter, we get, rain, a lot more rain than we do on the Central Coast. So there's a couple months, but it's really nice because it's out here, I've noticed that the seasons, you can actually recognize them. We're down on the coast, the only thing you notice is, a little bit longer days in the summer and a little bit longer
Yeah.
nights in the winter. But pretty much the weather is the same. You got the generally foggy mornings and clear and comfortable
Yeah,
afternoons.
for sure. I think we might have gone over the hump here with the weather because it's cooling down a little bit. They might get some rain, I guess, in Denver um, coming up this week, and then up here, it did rain a little bit. Like yesterday morning there was a little rain on the ground, and then today, and then last night I think it rained a little bit. Yesterday afternoon, just a couple sprinkles, um, and they're talking about the burn scars over there in near Denver where the fires happened, and just to be aware of those areas because of the rainfall, and of course after the rain, where the fire burns, it ends up being sometimes a little muddy um, runoff
Oh,
situation.
yeah. I guess the gold prospectors, they get a kick out of it because, when all that underbrush and overgrowth gets burned away, it oftentimes reveals a lot of unknown or more difficult to find gold. And of course, when you get rains after it, it washes a little bit more of that gold down into the
Wow,
placers, into the
yeah,
rivers.
that's incredible. I mean, that in your area, you guys have seen a substantial amount of different fires over the years. Um, I wonder if you overlaid the maps and looked at that if it keeps on burning the same places over and over again, or if it's a little bit different each time.
Oh, it's got
Yeah,
to be a
text
little
me.
bit different because up in the mountains, the first time I went up there was before any fires, and it was just lush, thick
Wow.
bush everywhere. And then there was a big fire, and it was a lot less, growth, and a lot of the trees got hit. And then a few years later, there was another fire, and I don't think it was as intense, because there was less
Yeah,
underbrush and
for
everything.
sure.
But it's a
Right.
cyclical thing, the trees and the brush grow back. Um, I got a friend of mine in Bakersfield was telling me there's
I know.
been a
I heard
couple
about that.
earthquakes
Yeah.
down
I know. I'm
south.
kind of going. Well, I'm glad it got over before my trip in. I'll be in the thick of it for basically 2 days, Saturday night and Sunday night, and then I'm on the train again on Monday morning. So going into the heat of it, hopefully those old buildings. I mean, the one I'm staying with my buddy Yuri, it's been there forever. So it's somebody. It's us. It's Mr. It's Secret Birthday Society Week for someone. Somebody we know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you that know, I've turned
Okay, that's
53
cool.
this week.
Nice. That's
Um, and I still celebrate my unbirthdays every single day. Even on my birthday, I
That's
celebrate
awesome.
an unbirthday. I think that if you wake up in the day and you're like supercharged and
Yeah.
stoked about life itself, you don't need a special day to celebrate. You can celebrate life itself. I think that's a key to happiness and a key to
Right.
longevity and just, a key to enjoying
Yeah.
everything. Is just to be excited and kind of in wonder. Every day I go out and water my garden, sometimes I'm just like, whoa, this is not the same garden because it's just
Oh
so
wow.
much more growth. So many, we've got some honeydew melons that are just,
Oh sweet.
they're getting big. And got some acorn squash, some crookneck squash that are getting ripe. We've harvested a couple of those. A bunch of tomatoes.
Amazing. That's cool. Yeah. Is that the neighbor? Yeah. Yeah.
I got a dog back here. I
Go
don't.
check it out.
Oh, you stop it. Maybe
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
help block
no
it
worries.
out a little bit.
Yeah, man. The garden up, the greenery. I just did a little lawn mowing yesterday. Keeping it trimmed. Right before I go on my trip, get a little trim on right before I go. But my plants this year are kind of runts. I got another batch of runts, so it's like I gotta learn my. I think this next season, it's amazing how quick the years go by. Like I got up here 2020, and I guess this would be like equivalent to my senior year. It's amazing how quick the years go by. Like 4 years. I guess this would be like your fourth year if you're pretending it was high school. Um,
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it. I mean, I guess we're all in the school of life, learning a little bit every day. One of the tricks on the garden that I've noticed is we've gotten some worm castings and we've gotten some chip. And so we put the worm castings in every now and then, side dress them and water it in, and they seem to love that. And the chip, especially around here on the hot days, helps retain the water. Yeah. Another trick is, you don't just water on the plants, but you water in the area because that, if you're only watering the plants, if the earth around it is dry, it'll kind of pull the water out. And it's like a whole microbiology underneath the soil. So the more activity you get from like worms and stuff, it just makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I know for sure. I had a amazing freshman year, my beginning year. I just kicked ass, and then ever since then I haven't been able to hit those numbers or whatever. In terms of just size and growth. Up here we have I want to say it is a good growth season. It is one of those things where I'm surprised at plants, how they adapt to climates, of course, and then how they can handle the cold. Apparently, they can handle cold, and so I guess knowing what kind of plants thrive in what temperatures can be very beneficial. So there's that. Talking to.
Oh, absolutely. Like my friend that comes and helps me a lot, he's just like a garden fanatic, I guess. And so he's getting all these different seeds, and on the back of them, it'll say, plant it at this time. So how many deep, how far apart, but it also says like what temperatures they like. And some plants are like, 80 to 95 degrees is their preferred. Some plants are like, 65 to 75 is their preferred. And so, it can definitely make a difference if you're, in a colder area and you're planting plants that thrive in the heat, they may not do as good. Whereas if you're in the heat and planting plants that thrive on the cold, maybe they're not going to do so good. You definitely want to pay attention to that when you're choosing which plants
No, for
to
sure.
plant.
I think this next season, I'm already looking forward to it. I probably we'll do a little research and reach out and try to get a head start. I do have a friend up in another part of Colorado that I might try to visit, and he's getting up there in age. It's amazing. Like my dad's 82. This guy's I think less than. He's probably late 70s, but these guys are troopers, man. They've been in some cases sporting guys their whole lives. Like did the ski instructor thing, and then just to hear someone who's still skiing at age 75, 76, something like that years old, that's pretty amazing. Um, for guys to hear those good stories about people that are still fairly active. I mean, just to be alive is huge. So, anyways, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's I guess I'm kind of used to it. I used to be very active, very athletic, and super. Anything that's physically rough and tough when I was younger. But once my back and neck started to go, it got to the point where, oh gosh, I still enjoy doing certain activities, but I really have to
Yeah.
moderate it. And I guess after years and years of doing something like skiing, you're definitely going to have the skills and the knowledge to know, how to do it
Yeah.
and not overdo it. And then, of course, you'll have that muscle memory and all the years of strengthening certain
Right.
muscles, it, you know,
Yeah, for
definitely going to
sure. I
help
guess
out.
knowledge is power, and knowing when you are like, even if you're not a seasoned veteran but a semi-seasoned veteran, even then you still got to remember to take it easy and like sort of warm up a little bit. Um, I did have a situation I think last year before last where I caught an edge and got freaking knocked out for a second, and my friend handed me my helmet back and be like, you fall? Yeah, yeah. So, but I came too quick. It wasn't. I didn't even know it happened. Really, it was like one of those like shockers. Um, so all I remember is my helmet being handed back to me, and then I put my helmet back on, and then just kept riding. And I realized, shortly thereafter, like I'm like, did we smoke something? Like, what? No, we didn't. We didn't do anything. Like, wow, that kind of caught me off guard. So you just never know. You got to be ready for anything. Style like you can't let your mind wander when you're deep in the thick of a sport like that. You kind of got to be focused on where you are. Be in the now. Don't be
Oh, absolutely.
elsewhere.
What one thing that really kind of blew me away when I was skiing a little bit, snowboarding a little bit, is how
Oh,
hard like the
all right.
groomed paths are. You think, oh, it's soft, and yeah, don't get me wrong. You get a fresh layer of powder, or get in, past the tree line where it hasn't been
Yeah.
skied. It's soft. You can sneak in, but the majority of the places that you're skiing on
Yep.
have been groomed. They pack it down and they groom it, and
Oof.
like in the summer or in the late
Spring. Yeah.
the late spring, what happens is, it melts out during the day and then freezes up in the morning, and they groom it, and it's basically as hard as
Dude.
ice in some
Yeah,
places.
no, it's serious stuff. I mean, having a board that you're used to, tuned up, sharp edges, et cetera, et cetera. Every little advantage you can get, and then of course, nowadays we got used to wearing helmets. I think pretty good number of years ago, and once you get used to wearing a helmet, you definitely feel naked without it. You know.
Oh, absolutely. I was watching some skateboarding
Uh huh.
videos, and it was Tony Hawk and this
Okay.
younger new guy. And one of the questions was like, well, does he always wear a helmet? Because, his mom, he wanted to make sure he was safe. And he said the exact same thing. He's like, yeah, I just I feel naked
Yeah.
without my helmet on, and it's like being a skater, I guess, on the street, if you're out there wearing your helmet, and everyone else is not wearing a helmet, there could be a lot of peer pressure. Oh, why are you wearing a helmet? That's corny or goofy or whatever.
Dude.
But it makes a lot of sense because you know you knock your dome you hit your
Dude,
head, it can hurt, it can
big
cause
time.
traumatic injuries. So why not? Why not have a layer of protection? Football players wear it,
Yeah,
hockey players wear it. When you're skateboarding, you're skateboarding on
yeah, dude.
concrete a lot of times, even the half pipes, the
Yeah,
masonite wood. It's
no,
not soft
no,
stuff to
no,
knock
not
your
at
head.
all.
In high school, actually a friend's brother, they had kind of a little place where all the college kids, a
Yeah.
college kid house, and they had a half pipe in the back, and one of the guys,
Oof.
cracked his dome, basically going, and he got a pretty good concussion, hit his head, he's
Yeah.
skateboarding every day. It was in his backyard. He lived there, so he
Wow.
skated it every day, but it just takes a split second and you can fall and tumble and bump your head and get a concussion, and it can be a lot worse than just, oh, I got
No, for
knocked out
sure.
for a second. I guess you had
Yeah,
a helmet
but
on
I
when
looked
you.
inside and I could see the inner. It looks almost like styrofoam. The inner liner was cracked. It didn't crack the exterior of the helmet, but the interior had a break in it, and I was like, oh shit! It was harder than I um, imagined, and it did take me, I want to say, a few days just to feel slightly. It just felt a little fuzzy for a bit. Um, so it's definitely it took me back where I sort of like I don't think I kept riding that season. I think I just took the rest of that season, maybe most of that season off, um, just to chill, and reevaluate because I
Yeah,
realized
you
like
have to.
the responsibility I have with family and stuff like that up here where they're sort of dependent on me to do stuff and um, so it just brings you back to your being and like being in the now and where you're at, and what kind of risk you're willing to take. I mean, we we were skateboarding. I don't think we wore helmets very much. Um, Maybe at the skate park, because I think at the skate parks they used to sort of require that. But I'm watching some Olympics, and they're not really. I noticed not a whole lot of pads. With those people. I didn't see the big sports. I should go back and try to watch some Olympic pool skating or something like that to see um, what they're doing in the pools. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. The Olympic Games is a pretty well known worldwide competition. The fact that skateboarding is now an Olympic sport,
Totally.
that's pretty cool considering where it started from. Watching the evolution of it, and I know definitely we were in the era of bikes without helmets, and then all of a sudden there was a helmet law for motorcycles, a seatbelt law for the cars, and I guess Big Brother per se is looking out for us, or at least aware that, hey, yeah, if you're driving 35 miles an hour and getting in an accident without a seatbelt,
Yeah,
good luck. You're gonna be hurting, but with a seatbelt on, at least you're not going to smack your head through the windshield or even get
for
ejected from
sure.
the car. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
good that it's there. Um, I guess I have my mixed thoughts about the fact that, a policeman could pull you over and write you a citation for not following the rules. But at the same time, I guess it is saving lives
yeah,
and everything,
yeah. It's out here. It's a little looser. I don't think that. I think Colorado has a maybe the helmet law. I think it doesn't pertain out here, but maybe it's just because it's less riders. Um, in California, I think has been always uh, sue everybody type of situation. So maybe that was something. Um, if someone else hits you, and then you're injured, and then you're going after their insurance company at it. So maybe it is like sort of through the insurance companies, they just decided to pass laws to add those extra protections or something like that. Who knows?
well, yeah, insurance is probably one of the, it's
Oh
definitely
yeah,
big business
dude.
for insurance.
Yeah, I mean, it cost me.
It, I guess it's kind of, I don't know if you ever think about it, but it's like, if they've got 100,000 people paying, say $100 a month for
Yeah, what is
insurance,
that?
as long as they're not paying out more than that $10
Okay,
million every month, they
right.
can stay afloat. And I know that on my house, on the mortgage, it's required. As far as pay your insurance, as part of the deal. You have to pay a little escrow along with the monthly
Okay.
mortgage payment, and that goes into an account where they pay your taxes and make sure you have insurance because I guess it is kind of a risk when the bank loans you a bunch of money. If there's an accident or a fire per se, and you're not living in the house, you might not be able to pay the mortgage. So having that insured is definitely
Yeah.
probably a
Yeah, it
wise a
makes sense.
wise
You know,
thing.
because I guess someone else has kind of flipped the bill. Like when I bought my van, I bought a brand new van a while back ago, but they required me to have full coverage on it because essentially I was on the lesser end of ownership at that point in terms of owning it. I was making big payments. I was paying like 600 a month or something like that for the van. Um, but that by no means was 30 plus $1,000 that the van cost. So for a moment there, you know, it was like heavy payments and then full coverage to pull it off. But at the time, yeah,
Oh, definitely, because they got to cover your behind. I'm trying to
right,
keep it
yeah,
PG rated,
exactly,
but you got to keep yourself covered. As far as like if you still have an outstanding loan on a house or a car, of course you want to have full coverage. I know that I'm not sure if it's the same way in Colorado, but I know in California there's a requirement for liability insurance, and I've made the decision because there are so many uninsured drivers. I guess you could pay a little bit extra and get underinsured or uninsured
oh, that's smart.
motorist coverage. So that way, if someone does have an accident, if you're so unlucky to have an accident and maybe you have hospital bills that are more than the liability, or God forbid, the person you're in an accident with doesn't have any insurance. And I remember I was talking to my insurance agent, I think last year, kind of said, okay, well, how much is it for, say, 20,000 or 50,000 worth of uninsured motorists? And it
Yeah,
really
I
wasn't
know,
that
right?
expensive.
Surprising
I
cost.
guess I got a good record, not too many points on my license, no accidents or whatever. So my
That's cool.
insurance is pretty
That's
low.
Yeah,
Very
that's
thankful
good.
about
That's
that.
good. Do you remember what company you're with? Oh,
I
okay,
am
me
with the
too.
AAA.
Yeah, mom and I are both on AAA policy, so they've been around for a long time. I found out they were actually the original DMV back in the day. AAA was actually the original DMV, and yeah, and I
Oh,
do like their. I mean, I do feel that everything is sort of you know, when this morning when I was in line at the coffee shop, there was a couple kids that are like, say in their 20s or something ahead of me, and I'm like, these kids are going to change everything, man. I feel like probably in a good way because they look at if they were to walk through some offices and they'd be like, what are you guys doing here? They'd be basically pretty much be laughing, going, like if let's say a kid took over a company, um, the kid would make drastic changes, and because he would realize that there's a lot of overspending going on, and people just hanging out at desks, fooling around, basically, and uh, and not really doing anything. So, it's all about how many people, and then of course with all the AI and all the computer stuff these days, it just seems like the direction we're heading is the more computers can do, the less people will have to do, which is sort of there's a pro and a con there because, hey man, what about work for the folks who actually want to physically work? Um, so there's that part. I mean, some people just are geared maybe towards, like the people that like in high school were super sporty kids, and doing all the track and field and the football and baseball and the whole thing. And those people maybe go on to do uh, physical type jobs, perhaps in some cases. And so there is something about like actually getting your hands dirty and making something happen. I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a dude who has a show about dirty jobs or something like that. And then there's also the whole thing
oh
about
yeah.
bringing the trades back to the school place. Like with auto shop, wood shop, um, maybe ceramics, just so people can actually learn and get hands on with that stuff, because that can lead to jobs within the trades. Because hey, who's going to actually physically build the house, repair the house, replace the toilet? I mean, these are all things we all use, and we need those things, man. And we haven't invented a robot
Oh
yet
yeah.
that just completely repairs the old stuff, yet. So
It might not be that far away. It might not be that far away. I mean, you look at some of
I know, right?
the videos, and it's just amazing, what these robots are doing. Autonomous robots, autonomous AI. It's self-driving cars. You got
No,
3D
true
printed
that.
houses. You got automated robots in car factories, automated welders, automatic
Yeah,
painters, and it is just kind of mind blowing. Where the Tomorrowland is going to be
yeah,
tomorrow. Of course, back in the day when we were kids, we'd go. Even back, you look at some of the '60s. Smart houses are now a thing where every appliance is communicating with the
yeah, right.
internet, and you can access your. Oh, I got to remember to water the garden and press your phone and automatically, or let the cats out, or feed the cats. There's so many things. There's a lot more than just the Roomba vacuum. Even though I've seen
Yeah,
those are
you,
pretty
you have to have a
cool.
real flat floor with sort of non-obstructed. If you had a real minimalist atmosphere, I think it could probably be beneficial. But when you have a little more, you know, different rugs and things like that, it's almost like the Roomba's got to be a 4x4. To
Oh yeah, especially if you got like throw rugs going from
yeah,
carpet to
right,
linoleum or tile or wood floor or something. It's definitely gonna, I guess, run
right.
into some obstacles. I imagine the technology will come up, but it's like the house of the future. You look at the
I love
'60s or
that
the
stuff.
'50s, movies, the house of the future, or when we were kids, we would watch the Jetsons. The Jetsons,
Yeah,
Rosie the robot that was like, oh yeah, how further away, or even nowadays, with the movies like iRobot, how far away is it really to where you'll have a personal robot that's designed to look and have hands and fingers like a human that can go, there's a leaky toilet, go fix it, and the robot go fix the toilet, or oh yeah, we want to grow the garden, and it
yeah,
does all the work, and then
yeah.
what are we
Well,
going to do? People, I guess, just sit
Yeah,
back and
I can't
get
help but think
lazy.
about the people that just want to hack in, because it's the science fiction guys have written in the script already so many times about hacking the robots, and then there's a bad robot, and the whole you know that whole thing. Who? Yeah.
Hey Jericho, we I think we broke a record today.
Oh,
We got
that's right.
3 live viewers. I think that's the most
That's
we've ever
awesome.
had.
Hell yeah. So cheers to the live people, not the live robots. We're running without AI. Who knows on the back end of Restream what's going on, but cheers to Restream for making this happen, for allowing us to come together and reunite after elementary school. Summerland School. Aaron and I both went to a little school in California, and had many years of separation. And then I saw Aaron literally on Facebook, like, hello, hello. And so
Hey, are you in there? Are
yeah,
you in there?
exactly. So
Hey,
yeah,
can
so
you hear
there's
me?
there's old friends out there. So sometimes it's hard to tell if they're real or not, because all the some of my friends have, I swear they've had like 10 Facebook accounts, and sometimes I understand, like, if you're not, like, I've stuck with iPhone for since 2012 or so, but if you don't stick with the latest, if you don't stick with a certain system, then you're always changing your phone, and then it can be hard to remember your password. So I guess thus the 10 Facebook accounts that some people have had in their run. I always tell people, just stay with it. Don't jump off. Just if you want to take a timeout, take a timeout. Um, but it's a good way to pop in occasionally and just communicate with people, see what people are doing. You almost have to go to their personal page to see what's up. Just like we do when someone wants to friend us, we go check out, who is this person who's trying to friend me? What's on their page? And you can kind of tell right away if it's a real account or not a real account. So, anyways.
Yeah, like if it's just got one or two profile pics and no information, you're
what's
like,
up? Where have you been?
And then sometimes, people will be like that. You'd be like, oh, let's do a video call.
Yeah, right.
No, you can kind of tell the fake ones. And, I guess people are getting smarter with the automatic robots and stuff, robot calls and robot marketing. So, yeah, it's definitely
the challenge.
moving forward.
The ever changing challenges. So tomorrow will be a little bit later because I'll be on the road. So I'm thinking it might be 8:30 your time because I'll be 9:30 my time / 9:45, 8:45. So a little bit later show tomorrow because I'm gonna So I'll keep you posted as I drive down into New Mexico. I'll keep you posted on the my arrival time because I think I'm gonna arrive with about a half hour to spare. And nonetheless, I'll be ready to roll as soon as I get to Santa Fe Station tomorrow morning. So, cheers to the road trip.
Excellent. I look forward to Santa Fe Station.
I'll hit you up with the messages right now, and thank you guys for watching today. Cheers from Coffee with the Summerland Kids. Yeah, we love you guys. Take care. Cheers.
Take care. Later.